بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله حمدا حمدا ونشكر شكرا شكرا ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له واشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي اللهم ربي زدنا علما وارزقنا فهما سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم اللهم وفقنا بعلم وعمل بما تحب وترضى اللهم ارزقني إخلاصا في القول والعمل. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may this episode be a means of salvation for the sins we have committed. Ameen. I also pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that for every seconds and minutes where we are investing in to listen to this episode, may it be a means for us to draw closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and may that means be a means for us to get ourselves enrolled to His paradise. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may He grant me the ability to present, and may He grant you the ability to understand. Whatever goodness solely lies in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever evil I would like to ascribe to myself and then shaitan. And let us send our continuous salam and salutation upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Hope everyone is in good state of iman and health. Now, in the previous episode, we embarked on the characteristic of an ideal husband based upon the hadith of Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu, narrated by Abu Hurairah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Idza khataba ilaykum أحد إذا خطب إليكم من ترضون دينه وخلقه." If a person comes to you of a good deen and he has a good mannerism. I went through with you on under the first half of the hadith, or first portion of the hadith, on the first quality where Prophet ﷺ state about deen, and we covered the topic of taqwa. What is taqwa? I gave you the elaboration on the conversation which took place between Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu and Ubay ibn Ka'ab radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And then I also have managed to went through with you on the definition given by the scholars, and linguistically what it means, and how can women then identify this particular individual based upon taqwa. And moving on to the second quality, which is deenahu wa khuluqa. Now, the next is Prophet distinct between religion and manners. Religion and manners. He did not only say religion. Now, no doubt that religion is the head, right? Religion is the core, and the khuluq, the deen, comes together. But however, there are people who are very religious while they do not possess good qualities, and the vice versa is also true, that there are people who have good qualities, where else they are not religious people. So it is like, just talking about myself, being a husband, right? I can be religiously practicing, where else I will definitely have, as a human being, gaps in some of my qualities, right? Some of my characteristic. So this is where we continuously need to work and exercise both of these qualities. But where else the religion will proceed, the religion will be of the higher and upper quality compared to the mannerism, because what will save an individual will be the religion, because religion is the ultimate goal of the individual. And no doubt that when we talk about mannerism here, mannerism is how we interact. Religion has got to do with the relationship a person builds with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and khuluq here means how a person builds the relationship with the people around him, the creation, right? And good character is part of religion. So when we are speaking about good characteristic, the first and foremost character where women need to look into their ideal husband is amanah, right? Amanah. What is amanah? Trust, right? Trust. If you recall in the previous episode, if you have even forgotten, you can always go and retrieve back the ayah from Surah An-Nisa. وَأَخَذْنَا مِنْكُمْ مِيثَاقًا غَلِيظًا. We have taken a very huge covenant. Right? What it means is it's an amanah. It's a trust, right? It's a trust. And trust comes together with responsibility. Responsibility is a very huge topic, right? I'm unable to do justice by just speaking on just these two words. I will go on trust, responsibility. It has different tiers and different levels. It's a very comprehensive topic. So we will hold on to one, which is trust. Now, Jabir radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrated that he heard the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam delivering his khutbatul wada, the farewell sermon in Hajj, stating that Fattakun nisa, have taqwa of Allah with regards to the women. Have taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with regards to the women. Right? فَإِنَّكُمْ أَخَصْتُمُوهَا, you have taken them as your wife in the amanatillah, from the entrustment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is an entrustment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah has made their private parts, private area permissible, halal, by His word, right? By His word. So the person must be al-Ameen, trustworthy and reliable when the person gets into the contract of marriage, right? The first quality where you need to look into is amana, right? Under the quality of huluk, right? The first thing where a woman need to look for is trust, because when the trust is breached, right? When you talk about trust, it's got to do with infidelity. It got to do with faithfulness. It got to do with trustworthiness. These are things which binds the family stronger, regardless of whatever other problems occurs. The first thing is trust. When the trust is being built, other problems when it occurs, it can be salvaged. The problem or the marriage can be salvaged through the gateway, through the door of trustworthiness, reliability, and faithfulness. And here, when a person who is trustworthy, while not misusing or abusing his authority, a person who has this trust, right? He does not break, as I said, he does not breach his trust. And he is always conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that this is a trust which Allah has entrusted me with. This is a trust which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has entrusted me with. And what is trust and what is amana? What is the concept of trust? So I was trying to look into and finding, examples, and I came across while I was thinking, one of my friends, while I was studying in the university, this another student, after completing from his exams, normally when we have completed our exams, we come out from our exam hall. The first thing we will ask all our other friends, how did you perform in your paper? Did you manage to answer this question? Did you manage to answer that question? So this student in this in that faculty, he started to ask, if I'm not wrong, it was Akida paper. So he asked, and he went through a few, and then he came across this brother who came from a very remote island, a remote part of the world, and was asking the same question to this brother: how was the paper? Did you manage? And the brother also, asked him, how did you manage to answer all the questions? Yeah, I say the brother responded to him optimistically. While this other brother who comes from a remote part of the world, he responded by stating that I was able to answer all the questions except for one question which I couldn't recall or remember the answer. So this brother who's from the States, he started to say that, you should have just fill up, something, whatever comes to your mind. And the brother amazingly responded with a profound revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which then gave me a lesson in my life, which is not only a lesson for a theory paper, but it is also for every other practical obstacles and challenges where we are going to go through, how we need to deal with it. He recited the verse from Surah An-Nahl, verse number 116, chapter number 16, 16, verse number 116, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals, وَلَا تَقُولُوا لِمَا تَصِفُ أَلْسِنَتُكُمُ الْكَذِبَ هَذَا حَلَالٌ وَهَذَا الْحَرَامُ لِتَفْتَرُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ كَذِبًا إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَفْتَرُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبَ لَا يُفْلِحُونَ. Subhanallah. وَلَا تَقُولُوا, never ever articulate, right? Never ever, not only tasifu, means do not characterize things from your tongue. Al-sina can also mean that write down or pen down something, right? The al-sinatikum kadhiba, to fabricate a lie against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to fabricate a lie towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to state that this is permissible and the other is impermissible, when you know what is right and what is wrong. And whoever fabricates a lie, then the person will be accountable on the day of judgment. He said that question, it's an amana. And we are a student of knowledge of amana. And we also need to write an answer of an amana, for indeed we will be questioned on the day of amana. Subhanallah. That literally shook and moved me when I heard that real story, the factual story which took place. That the entire concept of amana, it's just not using the term amana, but using it in the practical right context will then build not only the relationship with Allah, but the relationship with the creation, i.e. here with your spouse, even much more stronger. And the entire relationship is based upon conversation, how we interact with our spouse. This is a reminder for myself and also a reminder for you that where I have gaps and every other creation who are being created and living on the surface of this earth equally will face gaps when coming to communication with their spouse. One of the examples where we are able to learn regards to amana in building the trust and faithfulness with the spouse is by continuously speaking the truth and going it straight to the point and being practical. This is something where many of us are unaware of, while the Naib Qadi, the solemnizer who solemnizes the solemnization, would recite this verse during the khitab nikah, during the sermon of the nikah, which I share with you in the previous episode. In Surah Al-Ahzab, verse number 70, chapter number 33, verse number 70, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha wa qulu qawlan sadida. O you who fear Allah, you who's mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, keep your duty to Allah and fear Him and speak always the truth. So this is an ayah which many amongst us only hear the Naib Qadi reciting without us contemplating, pondering, and evaluating what it means. Having to be truthful in the speech is amongst the sign of trustworthiness. Is amongst a sign of trustworthiness in a relationship. That even though truthfulness is bitter. This is why people become very diplomatic, or socially is right. But however, how we present the truth is again something where I need to learn, and also those who have lacking in those areas, we need to equally learn the art of communication, of how can we speak the truth in the most critical period of our life in order for us to build the trust between each other. This is something where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is revealing, and something where we hear during the khitab nikah, during the solemnization, during the sermon of solemnization. And the verse continues, why do we need to speak truth in a relationship? Why must we be truthful in the relationship to build, to build and develop the trustworthiness between the husband and wife? This is amongst a means of reconciliation. Yuslih lakum a'malakum. He will direct you to do righteous good deeds. Yuslih comes from the word sulh. So this is when you are able to reconcile between the husband and wife based upon the words which you have spoken, the words of truthfulness you have spoken, but in the most amicable way. That is something which is very difficult for many amongst us, including myself, right? So it is a reminder for me, and hopefully may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is my path and is your path, to master the art of interaction to build the trustworthiness between you and your spouse. What is the reward of speaking the truth? Number one is yuslih lakum a'malakum. Allah will reconcile your righteous actions. Means because marriage is an ibadah. So when you are able to speak the truth, because that you have spoken the truth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will then sense blessing, and He will reconcile between the spouse. وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive your shortcomings. Now this is the most amazing reward a person attain when the person speaks the truth with the spouse. But again, how we're going to put it across, what time, what the emotion of the person, all that must be taken into consideration. Now, I have no doubt that I'm not going into the in detail topic of how the emotion, whether the person is rage, in anger, frustration, is stress. These are things where you and I, we need to learn when we want to get across certain messages. But the point here is speaking the truth. The reward of speaking the truth, it reconciles and strengthens the relationship and has better, and so that you're able to perform better in the relationship of yours, and it is a means of forgiveness for the sins you have committed. وَمَن يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَقَدْ فَازَ فَوْزًا عظيما. Whoever obeys Allah means this person is fearful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This both individuals, both spouse have taqwa in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they continuously embark on the path of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And these are the victorious. فَقَدْ فَازَ فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا. This is just not any victory, but this is ultimate victory. What it means is it will not only be a victory in this world, this will then tread the path towards the ultimate victory of the couple which lies ahead of them in the paradise. So truthfulness leads to paradise, right? So whoever does righteous good, whoever speaks the truth, he does righteous good deeds, and righteous good deeds is a means of admission of a person into paradise. And in between that, whatever shortcomings you have, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always overlook and forgive. And then the ayah continues, which is the core, which is the backbone of my sharing session, which I would like to wrap up with. Allah then continues, Inna aradna al-amanata ala as-samawati wal-ardi wal-jibali fa-abayna an yahmilnaha wa ashfaqna minha wa hamalaha al-insan innahu kana zaluman jahula. Inna aradna, we indeed offer this amana. What this amana is? This amana is the trust, and the trust where Allah has bestowed or the trust where He have offered to the different creations. The trust of the hugest trust is, number one, to carry Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's message. He have offered this trust to the heavens, the earth, and the mountains, but every single one declined. Now, within the amana is the amana of marriage. So there are many amanas. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means one amana is the huge amana. In it, there are many trust and responsibility which comes along, and amongst it is marriage. Amongst it is marriage. So when man was unable to wrap his mind around the offering where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave, where else the heaven, the earth, the mountain, when Allah offered this amana, all of this gigantic, humongous creation turned down the amana, where else insan, right? Insan, with the word where Allah used ayyahmilnaha wa ashfaqna minha. The word shafaqa means the extreme form of severe, the extreme form of trust. The extreme form of shafaq means when a person is able to shafaq is when a person is able to have who's able to know the extreme form of a thing. He is able to comprehend the extreme form of the thing. So the heavens, the earth, and the mountains were able to comprehend, how deep and how gigantic this responsibility is. So as such, they declined. Where else human were the first one to raise up their hand. وَحَمَلَهَا الْإِنسَانِ, and man took this particular amana, and without him realizing that what are the other trusts where Allah has entrusted upon, what it entails of the entrustment, and amongst the entrustment where Allah has trusted us with is women. And how do we need to take care of this particular trust, and how can we then build the trust between each other so that we are able to return back the trust as how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have entrusted with. And the two characteristics where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in this verse is innahu kana zaluman jahula. Indeed, he was zalum and jahul. The two extreme form of a word where Allah used zalum come from the word fa'ul, and jahul come from the word fa'ul. Both are, fa'ul means the most extreme form. He's not only zalim, but he's zalum. He has literally transgressed himself with, right? He's totally unaware of, right? He is completely oblivion of this particular entrustment where he have taken. And he is also completely ignorant of the entrustment where he have taken. And amongst the entrustment where we take, right, is the entrustment of the marriage contract, where many amongst us, including it's a reminder for me and for every other husbands who are out there, the thing is when we have taken the amana, right? When we take the marriage contract, mithaqan ghalidha, it is indeed a very huge trust where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have entrusted with. So we need to have the right knowledge in order for us to come from the zone of zulum, that we do not oppress the rights of an individual, and for us to refrain from the zone of ignorance, we need to continuously nourish ourselves and update ourselves with the respective knowledge to continuously fulfill this entrustment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to flourish the relationship between husband and wife. So it is something where you and I need to exercise. So amana is just not by stating, it's trust and that's it, right? It is a continuous, it's a lifelong learning journey, right? From one problem to another problem. The problem might be similar, where else the solution for the problem can be different time to time. Then when you are able to figure out that solution, then the trust is built again. So basically, having to build the trust between husband and wife, the individual need to be in the constant environment of seeking knowledge, and we need to further understand the importance of amana and give the due rights to the word, not only to the word amana, but to the practices of amana, to then carry this amana of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we do, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless us in our marriage in this world, in the hereafter. Hopefully what I have shared with you today is beneficial for me and beneficial for you. Whatever goodness solely lies in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever evil I would like to ascribe to myself and then shaitana kullu ma tasma'un. Allahumma anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa 'allimna ma yanfa'una warzuqna 'uluman tanfa'una fid dini wad dunya wal akhirah. Allahumma arina haqqa haqqa warzuqna ittiba' wa arina batila batila warzuqna ijtinaba. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وأتم صالحات أعمالنا وآجالنا يا الله يا رب العالمين بفضلك سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.